this process of rewriting these bylaws using the existing text, we're sort of interested in playfully reinserting that drama, sense of movement or action, like back into those rules as we start to rewrite them. What the project is really sort of trying to do is think about the ways in which citizens can be involved in the rules that govern how we move through the city, and that actually those processes could be transparent, engaged with citizens, and something that happens within the public space. Those bylaws belong to everybody.
My name is Eric Moscapetis, and I am one half of Mia and Eric, an artist team from Calgary, Alberta, Canada. I have a background in theatre and performance, and Mia has a background in craft and printmaking. We were introduced to Action Hero by a curator in Calgary. They invited Gemma and Jim to come to Calgary for a 2-week blind date, basically, and the 4 of us just hung out and got to know each other. We've heard this from multiple different curators, but they see a parallel between the way that Mia and I work and the way that Action Hero work, and so it made a lot of sense. We often describe ourselves as like each other's artist doppelganger.
My name's Gemma, and I am one half of duo Action Hero, and we're an artist collaboration based in the UK. It's myself and my collaborator James.
So Future Perfect New Bylaws for Civic Spaces is a collaborative project, and bylaws are an interesting subject matter because they dictate the way that people behave or act inside of a city. So do not jaywalk, do not put up a fence here, don't make noise after a certain period of time. And these things kind of have an overarching function to maintain the civility in a city. Bylaws are oftentimes describing prohibitive things you can't do. We take those prohibitions and try to turn them into possibilities or permissions.
So what we do is that we take an entire set of bylaws, and we're here in Toronto, and we've been working with the Streets bylaw and the Parks bylaw. We cut up the bylaw word by word, and then we rearrange them to create a set of new rules. We're sort of taking the existing language and wording of the rules and kind of playfully rewriting them to create these new rules, which are often like funny or absurd or sort of ridiculous.
We started working with Summer Works a few years ago to bring Future Perfect to Toronto. The process has seen a lot of different steps taken throughout that time.
We met with some city bylaws officials, and we were talking to them about the process of how bylaws get written and made. And they were saying that often it's a really responsive process. Something happens in a city, between people, between citizens, and then the city has to respond to that by creating a bylaw that can address that particular problem and address it for the future. What we were really interested in is kind of like these mini dramas behind the scenes in the city and how that informs what most people consider to be quite a dry and bureaucratic document.
We met with artists, we met with activists in the city, trying to get a better understanding of what some of the issues are in the city, how bylaws are constructed, the role of bylaws and how they function in Toronto. From there, we were able to identify a number of different sites where we might place billboards throughout the city or the downtown core. Future Perfect has a lot of different points where people from the city can interact with it. So we worked really closely with the Bentway and Summerworks and Artworks TO to try to create those moments where people could build new bylaws for ourselves. So we actually have a bylaw builder that's on our website, and it's a drag and drop process. They immediately get uploaded to Twitter. So there's a long Twitter feed of all of these different bylaws that people have written. And then also those bylaws become contenders for billboards that we are putting up around the city. People can also come to us here. One of the things that's really important for us is that the billboards themselves are a form of engagement.
Where we are now, just outside on the medians there, you can see there's a series of 9 billboards. They've been changing quite regularly, so it's kind of like a sequence of 9. They start to tell a story, or there's like a gentle narrative.
Further down at the Bentway space, underneath the expressway, we have 2 large billboards, and then we have 4 other small billboards that are scattered throughout the area at bike stands. And then there's another larger commercial billboard in the Parkdale area. Then each day we actually create 2 new billboards and on a purpose-built structure on the rooftop of the theater center. We think of the billboards as stage directions almost that are in the city, and they are encouraging people to imagine a new future or imagine their activities in the city being different, or possibly even playing out some of these billboards. As they see them, they might play them out. For us, we've got all this hard physical infrastructure. We've got the installation, we've got the billboards, But it's really the activation of the imagination, I think, that's really important to us with Future Perfect.